Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author in one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Ted Richardson on the line, and he's the managing partner over at American Tax Compliance. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
So excited to get into today's topic. U.S., Canada, cross-border taxes. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing as managing partner over at American Tax Compliance. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. We are a boutique tax firm specializing in compliance, which is just sort of a fancy term for tax preparation and advice. So we started up midway through last year, so we're coming up on the first year mark. And really, we are, as our name implies, focused on giving people who may live in the U.S. But have other countries of citizenship, or perhaps even U.S. people who move abroad, and people who kind of live between places. A lot of our work is U.S., Canada, also some U.S., Australia, but in general, we try to identify what people's filing obligations are in the U.S., no matter where they live, whether it's full-time in the U.S., full-time somewhere else, or, half and half.
What are some of the challenges that you found working with, or that these, I should say, taxpayers are having living abroad and managing their taxes here?
Sure. I think the biggest issue is probably identifying filing obligations. It's also contingent on our clients understanding their situation. They may have had a tax advisor that they've been with for many years, who has been kind of informing them what it is that they need to be doing. And, it's no fault of the other firms out there. The level of expertise on specifically articulating filing requirements in the U.S. From other foreign jurisdictions, it just varies. People are very good at this area, and some, probably overestimate their own level of knowledge. And so, coming from a background of having gone through public accounting and some other boutique firms, I've seen a lot of processes, seen how people approach this stuff. And, we focus a lot on training and getting that initial familiarity so that we ask the right questions, we identify what the filing obligations are, and we're transparent about this process.
And so that being said, what kind of clients do you typically work with? So is it individual filers, families? Is it businesses? Just to give a feel, because there's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening, and we do have a worldwide audience. So just want to give them a feel for who's the right type of person to follow up to work with you.
Absolutely. So we actually work with with all that, but in general, we have a small trickle of people who come in as individuals, and they, sometimes it's word of mouth. That's a lot of what we're getting. But it's we also have strategic partnerships with businesses out there, so that when you want to send an employee outside of the U.S. and you're a U.S. company, or on the other hand, if you're a company that is incorporated outside of the U.S. and trying to send someone here, we also deal with entire employee groups where we can cut you sort of the rate where we can build these efficiencies of scale. So if you're a business and you want all of your employees to make sure that they're fulfilling their obligations on the U.S. tax side, we have negotiated rates so that we're able to understand, what the situation is for most of the employees and have individual conversations, but essentially we're able to manufacture a consistent result. On the other hand, we also work with financial planning companies. We're centered in Phoenix, and we work with financial planning companies where they want to focus more on the financial planning or the asset management side of things, and they send us the compliance work so that you have a specialist and they don't have to divide their focus.
Any trends you're noticing from your vantage point in tax?
I think that we've seen some changes, obviously, with reform. There are a lot of changes to business rules in particular. The informational filing obligation for U.S. persons who own foreign companies is called Form 5471. And we did see some changes to that form, particularly for CFCs, which is a controlled foreign corporation where you have a U.S. person who owns 51% or more of the shares. And they have added a lot more questions in the past couple of years. You have things like GILTI, which is essentially a way to pick up the intangible low taxed income that's going on within these corporations, but would normally be subject to deferral, or, you would regard the business as a separate entity, but in fact, there's taxable events for U.S. purposes going on within these by virtue of them being foreign corporations.
And so, Ted, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on American tax science or to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Our website is probably the first and best resource. You can go on to www.americantaxcompliance.com. Our rates are published there. We work off of a system where we charge by the form, and we do have some clients who want to engage us for advisory work, and we just come up with a rate that fits sort of the complexity of the situation. But in general, if you're trying to get forms filed, all the rates for those forms are on our website, as well as how to contact us, a couple of blog articles to get yourself some context, and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, hey, Ted, been great having you on the show today, and definitely like getting into the topic. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had fun listening. And if you did, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, then definitely give us a subscribe there. And don't forget to leave us some comments on the video section. Love to hear your thoughts and what's going on in your world. And Ted, thanks again for coming on the show.